Mulder's mother has a stroke after a heated meeting with none other than CSM. A census worker gets caught in a holdup and saves a man's life with his bare hands.
Which really pisses off CSM. The alien bounty hunter returns, and the stage is set for Season 4.
This is not happening.
Excuse me, I'm Special Agent Scully, FBI. I want to talk to somebody who can tell me what happened.
Well, I can tell you what I saw, but I don't think there's a man here who can tell you what happened.
What did you see?
Maybe you should talk to this man. He was one of the ones shot.
You were shot?
Right here. Right in the stomach. I felt the bullet enter me, and the next thing I remember was being on the floor. My legs and arms were numb, and I could taste blood in my throat. Then I see the man's face.
What man?
It was the same guy who tried to talk the gun guy out of hurting anyone.
What did he do?
He touched me, and he said I was going to be okay. And then all of a sudden, I could feel my legs and arms again.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You are listening to This Is Not Happening, another X-Files podcast with me, Andrew, and joined as always by my good friend Mike. Mike, hello, and how are you today?
I am doing well, Andrew. Hello.
Can you make a good pun off of today's episode title?
I will say, Cumi, Andrew, Cumi, which apparently means rise.
It does.
So let us Cumi to the occasion and cover this episode with great fervor and excitement for our listeners.
Talitha style.
Talitha, maiden style.
Episode 24 of Season 3, the season finale, which means, of course, directed by R.W. Goodwin. And interesting to note, the story is by David Duchovny and Chris Carter, teleplay by Chris Carter. What do you think of that? Is this another case of him supplying some hastily written notes on bar napkins to CC and saying, hey, I got an idea here, Chris?
Well, I don't think so. I think David Duchovny, at least in the early seasons, came with ideas for the mythology, for his character to go through. And I wouldn't say it's so much bar napkins as it is, he's really trying to add to the X-Files in an auteur way. He wants to author some episodes, and he wants to have some agency in how his character progresses. And he probably has some neat ideas. So I wouldn't doubt that they actually sat down together and kind of hashed some things out.
Yeah.
To create these stories, these ideas that David had. And furthermore, I don't think David wrote the whole story. I think he has like, hey, I think our characters should do something like this, and the story should go this direction. And Chris Carter probably had to morph an idea that he already had. So
yeah,
I would say it goes beyond bar napkins, but obviously it was more of a collaborative issue.
I would say so, yeah. The episode's title, Talitha Cumi, comes from the Bible, the Gospel of Mark, chapter 5, verse 41, which says, Mike, and he took the damsel by the hand and said unto her, Talitha Cumi, which is being interpreted, damsel, I say unto thee, arise. More accurately, it is maiden arise from Aramaic. Maiden arise. Yep. Jesus believed or brought a woman back to life by uttering the phrase Talitha Cumi. So, yeah,
so by extension,
we're going there.
The bounty hunter is Jesus.
He is Jesus. Yeah. Actually, there are multiple Jesuses, and they came from outer space.
Multiple outer Jesus. Okay, we are there.
It's going to be interesting. Other interesting note before we get rolling. Did you know, sir, that William B. Davis was actually, prior to acting, a championship-level water skier?
Oh, I didn't know. I always, anytime that scene comes up, I'm like, wow, CSM water skiing. Huh. I would pay to see that, just given who this character is.
You know he's doing it with
like he's got a cigarette. She's hanging onto the rope with one hand. He's got a cigarette in the other.
Yeah. Interesting moment there for sure. But a lovely aside for that.
That's great.
That bit of script to come.
It's like Mulder with his baseball. David is a really good baseball player and a hoops player. He sinks a few shots in this show that prove that he's a basketball player.
Yeah. And a fast runner.
Because
he ran the tracking shot vehicle a couple of times, so they had to speed up. All right, well, shall we roll on this? Is it time to?
Absolutely.
Are you ready to rise, maiden?
Cumi on, Andrew. Let's get to it.
Hey, excellent.
Rise
Okay.
on.
Well, we open on a fast food restaurant in Arlington, Virginia. Inside, a man sits at a table. He's raving about he's lost his job, how he's hard done by, as nearby patrons decide to move to other tables.
Yep.
Finally, he's had enough, and he stands, pulling a gun, telling everyone to sit down and shut up. An employee calls 911 as the gunman lets the children go. Oh, there's a nice guy. In the background, an older man stands up and walks calmly towards him, asking him not to harm anyone. Gently, he talks the man down, putting his hands on the gun, and it all looks like the situation is going to be resolved. But outside, the police have made remarkable time, complete with a SWAT sniper. As the doors open, the gunman hears the noise of the police and is right back in it, deciding time to open fire. He shoots 3 people inside the restaurant before the sniper shoots him. The gunman falls to the ground, an incredulous look on his face. "I'm going to die," he says. But the older man kneels beside him and puts his hand on the gunman's chest. "Nobody's going to die," he says, as the blood disappears and the wound is healed. Ooh, they're doing it, Mike. They're finally tackling the case everyone's been asking for, the mystery of Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, they really captured what I go through every day in this scene. People leaving the area when I come sit down for lunch. This is just
start raving.
Oh God. Yeah, every day I go out there, people just can't stand it.
What do you think of this opener?
It's interesting. Quick note, this is Hrothgar Matthews.
Mm-hmm.
He was the homeless man from Jersey Devil.
Yes.
And others. But yeah, I think it's a cool opening. I think the obvious oh shit moment is the healing of the bullet wound. And unfortunately this scenario plays out in real life a little too frequently. But the real,
you mean the shootings, not the healing.
The shootings, no, the healing happens too.
Oh, it does. I hadn't heard about those.
It doesn't get as much press because it's positive.
It's been covered up a lot. It's not a bad news story. It doesn't get traction.
I like it because it starts off with a stressful scene, a tense scene, an uncomfortable scene. And our nerves are already like, okay, well, this is unsettling. And then the real oh shit moment is when the healing happens. You're like, oh man, credits.
Yeah.
So I like the way it's set up that way.
I do like the setup of they are going counter to their own setups of the crime scene and dead bodies. In this case, there will be none of those. And the crime is, how did this get undone?
Yeah.
That is the mystery that's going to be solved. So
yep.
I do like that. Our next scene has Mulder and Scully pulling up to the K Brothers restaurant. And I will tell you, Mike, that it has been retrofitted since 1997, but this is still a restaurant today. It's an A&W at 6535 Kingsway, Burnaby, BC. If you're got a hankering for a chubby cheese or chubby chicken burger, you can roll down there.
Chubby cheese.
Chubby cheeseburger. Emergency crews are still picking up the pieces as Scully walks up to ask where the wounded are. But it turns out there aren't any. No one has any information, and it's all very confusing. Scully talks to one of the shooting victims, relating how he had been shot. He tasted blood, but then the man who talked down the shooter came over and healed him.
I don't like this guy.
Yeah.
Overactor award goes to?
A little bit.
I mean, he's excited. He's on the X-Files. This is his big break. I get it.
Yeah.
But
you got to invest in your supporting cast because they will be the ones that take you down.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Mulder goes over to talk to the gunman, Mr. Muntz. He tells Mulder that God spared his life today, washing away his sins, relating through religious symbolism the events of the opening. Scully connects with Mulder. The older man who performed these miracles has disappeared without a trace.
Bum, bum, bum.
Call back to the end of season 2. Nothing disappears without a trace. We cut now to a cottage in the woods as Mrs. Mulder arrives. I'm sorry, before I move on to this scene, did you want to say anything about that little wrap up there?
No, it worked well. I think the religious significance of the title comes from Hrothgar Matthews' character, and while it doesn't reference the title, it's kind of hinting at the inspiration, I think, for this episode, which is kind of cool.
Oh, it's literally written as the title. I mean, it is it's not hard to see the significance there. But.
No. The only other thing is Stephen Demopoulos, who plays the detective. We saw him in .com.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Ionaska.
Very nice.
So, yeah, other than that, we can move on, sir.
All right. Well, let's move on to a cottage in the woods as
Cottage
Mrs.
in the
Mulder arrives. Contents are covered in plastic sheets. As she walks through the house, she sees that the back door is ajar, and she walks over to it. On the other side, on the porch, she finds the cigarette-smoking man is waiting for her, doing what he does, smoking a cigarette. The two obviously know each other.
Oh, boy.
It struck me as I was sitting here.
What?
Everything changes but the sea.
What do you want from me?
I thought we might at least allow ourselves to reminisce.
I have nothing to say to you.
Really? Used to have so much to say to each other. So many good times at the Mulder summer place. Your kids, young and energetic. I remember water skiing down there with Bill. He was a good water skier, your husband. Not as good as I was, but then that could be said about so many things. Couldn't it?
I've repressed it all.
Well, I find that hard to believe. Particularly since I've come here today to ask you to remember something.
I was better at everything than Bill Mulder. Ooh,
I would have been better at fucking if we ever did that, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, he totally did.
Oh, yeah, they banged. As the two talk, we see that they're being surveilled through a camera lens. Someone is taking photographs of this meeting, which becomes heated. In a overacting act with your hands style, Mrs. Mulder walks away. So, discuss their relationship. Is this a case of, hey, we've had these characters floating around. Wouldn't it be cool if they kind of intersected in more ways than one?
This is David Duchovny's influence. I want CSM to bang my mom. So this is what we have to do, Chris. Okay, I'll write that into the episode.
Yeah, totally.
No, I think it's something we were unprepared for.
Yeah, it's a nice reveal.
I don't think they've hinted at this at all until this moment. And this isn't so much a hint as it is like, okay.
Oh, no,
okay, there's a relationship here.
They have, because clearly CSM knew Bill Mulder. So I don't think...
Well, yeah, he knew them, but... Yeah.
But they spend summers
the
together.
way he's talking, I guess, is what I mean. And the way he's talking is very much, there's a relationship here.
Oh, for sure.
And that's intense.
Yeah.
And then when they're being spied on and they're having this obvious heated argument, it's like, okay, there is something pretty significant going on here. Why would these two characters ever have this kind of antagonistic relationship? So that asks a lot of questions. I like it.
And clearly the heated argument that we're seeing but not hearing is him saying, where's the alien switchblade?
You faked? You faked. That was not faking. You cannot fake that. Well, yes, I can.
Okay, it was that too.
That was written out of David Duchovny's script.
Yeah, it was too much for Fox. They couldn't talk about that. We return to the crime scene, where one of the detectives relates that the older man gave his name and address, Jeremiah Smith of Suitland, Virginia. As he continues to relate how he was talking, as he continues to relate how he was taking the man's details, and that when he looked up from writing, the man was no longer there. Mulder notes a TV van driving away in the background when he receives a phone call. It's A.D. Skinner telling him some unfortunate news. Mulder's mother has been admitted to hospital in Quanakatog, a name that Skinner cannot pronounce, but Mulder can, meaning Mulder knows.
Skinner's stupid.
He's a stupid man. Meaning Mulder knows exactly where his mother is. He leaves immediately for Rhode Island. Mike, a 7-hour car ride or a 1-hour flight to Providence and then another 30 minutes from there.
Okay, so let's do the math here.
Yeah.
Mulder obviously doesn't have a private jet waiting for him.
Are we sure on that? Are we sure?
I mean, he could probably find a government something. So if we are to believe that he was able to locate a government jet or plane, or even finagle his way onto an already ready plane. He still has to get to the closest airport. So Andrew,
Yeah.
which is the closest airport? No.
Wait, hold on.
No.
No, I don't know what. I mean, it'd be a regional. It wouldn't be Dulles.
Yeah,
because
probably
that would be
regional.
International. But yeah, I
So
mean,
it's at least 3 hours before he's able to secure a flight, is my guess. At least.
yeah. So is it faster for him to fly and then, not have wheels?
Yeah.
Well, you rent, I suppose, when he gets to Providence. But
I still
thing
think
is,
it's
the thing is, whatever he does it again later on in the episode. Because he goes there, he comes back, and then he goes back to Quanakatog.
Yeah.
All of which I think to myself, why on earth, you poor writers, why on earth do you do this to yourselves? Why not just have it be, on the scenic part of Washington, there are some. Like, why have it be so stupidly far away?
They're a rich family, so what better way to illustrate that they're rich than having them live only by ferry in some remote location
Yeah.
for the summer home, not to mention their normal house, which is Martha's Vineyard.
Also hard to get to. I mean, wow.
There's just no other way to say they have a lot of money.
It must be. Either that or Mulder's getting rides from the alien bounty hunter again, who coincidentally is going to show up. So, it checks out. We're going to cut now to Mulder strolling through the hall of the hospital, arriving at his mother's bedside. She's hooked up to several machines, and then Scully arrives. So I guess they travel together. She reveals that Mrs. Mulder has had a stroke. The nurse arrives, mentioning that Mrs. Mulder has been in and out of consciousness. She awakens. Mrs. Mulder does, not the nurse, beckoning for something to write with. Scully supplies a notepad, upon which Mulder, Tila Mulder, Mrs. Mulder, writes the word palm, and we fade to commercial.
PALM.
What could that mean?
She's always writing weird shit. This is not out of character for her.
That's right. And she doesn't know how to spell. Little known.
Pad.
Well, after a commercial, Mulder and Scully are finishing up the hospital as Mrs. Mulder is taken away to a better facility in Providence. Scully gives an optimistic diagnosis. Her circulation was restored quickly, and she's going to be in excellent care. Mulder muses about the coincidence of the case they're working on and the word Mrs. Mulder wrote, palm, and that the wounded were healed with the palm of Jeremiah Smith's hand. Scully takes, as usual, the rational approach that Mrs. Mulder's at the right age for something like this to happen. And Mike, Rebecca Tulin was 53 during the filming of this episode. 53 is not old woman old. I mean, maybe
not old woman old,
but
it's still believable. I mean, I don't know.
They're playing. It depends on. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And have done ever since she showed up in this. She's the old woman Mulder. And it's like, if you're going to do that, just cast an older actress. Like, why play this?
They're just dropping like flies, these 53-year-olds, man.
That's right.
Strokes everywhere.
That's right. Well, Mulder can't let it go. He decides to go back to Washington to get down to the bottom of the mystery of who the Miracle Man is. So we cut back to FBI HQ as Mulder has gotten his hands on the footage shot by the news crew at the scene of the shooting. They review the footage and see something completely impossible.
Bonkers.
It's bonkers, man.
It's cool, though.
It's a really nice shot. One moment, the detective is questioning Jeremiah Smith, and then people conveniently walk in front of the camera, and then there's a different man in the same clothes before the detective. Mike, discuss.
I love who he turns into. It's just this elderly man, this detective with a mustache, just kind of hand on his hip, looking off into the distance.
Yeah, and the detective's like, what? What just happened? Am I having a stroke?
That guy is the guest actor of the fucking year for this episode. I love that. It's like Mulder standing on the stoop at the end of Humbug.
Yeah, it's true. I forgot the hero pose there. It's so good.
Oh man, I love it. But yeah, cool effect. I like it.
It's a cool effect, and I mean, a nice touch on people walking in front of the camera. Because, like, what would that have looked like if they hadn't had that convenient swipe cut?
Yeah,
It's just been boop, and he's a new guy. Well, the agents can't explain it. Mulder heads out to pursue another lead, despite Scully reminding him he hasn't slept for 24 hours, but he's going anyway because that's what heroes do. They operate on low sleep.
You can't make any mistakes either.
No.
I mean,
No, you're motivated.
you're at the extreme peak of performance when you go on zero sleep.
You're driven by passion. Well, we cut to this, the Social Security Administration, which I'm sure has a better name than that in real life, but we'll go with it. In Washington, D.C., a large cavernous office room filled with computers on desks staffed by civil servants. And Mike, I gotta say, I think that this room exists purely in Chris Carter's head.
Yeah. This empty white room with desks kind of strewn about. Doesn't really fit the space.
Yeah.
But it is just people working diligently at the Social Security office.
You fucking drones. You government hacks.
This is all they do.
This is what Chris Carter thinks of government. He's like,
I'm inputting numbers. This is what I do all day.
These soulless drones, he's got an axe to grind with the government or something.
Yeah.
This is like, no, I'm so sorry, but you get better. You get a better place to work than this. You get little cubby walls, even. Not just
Nope, you get desks all facing one direction.
That's right.
Facing a white wall with
Mr. Smith,
4 doors on it.
Here's your desk. We're hoping for an upgrade to cubicles, but for now, this is what we got.
This is what we got.
Well, into this cavern, a squad of other men in dark suits, led by the cigarette-smoking man, enter the room and start looking for Jeremiah Smith, who we see working at one of the terminals. Stith clocks them. He stands and walks away, heading for another door, but he's outmatched, and agents await him. He's grabbed and taken away, and the agents politely leave the scene. We cut now to a much less nice scene, a dark prison with Smith now encased in a full Hannibal Lecter restraint system, and he is wheeled into a cell. Ate his liver.
No
with
mask,
fine
though.
Chianti. Anything to say about that one? That felt pretty straightforward.
Yeah, that you're good.
All right.
Cell number B18.
Oh, keep that in mind. It's going to be important. Okay. Mulder now goes back to Quantatog, another 7-hour car ride or 1-hour flight, and he walks through the cottage. Oh, wait a second. I guess he's going back
he hasn't
from
left
the
it. This is the first time.
Okay, yeah. All right. So he showed up the hospital. He hasn't been here before. So, and he didn't go back to, oh, wait, he did go back. Yeah.
He hasn't been to the property yet.
Okay, but to track the logic of his travel, gets the call at the crime scene, drives or flies to
the hospital
outside of Quantatog.
Yeah.
Have all that business. They go back to Washington to look at the news footage.
Yeah.
And then he goes back to the cottage at Quantatog.
Yes.
So he's got a lot of miles on that car.
A lot of miles.
Yeah. Well, he walks through the cottage, doesn't see anything, goes out back, and he's surprised to see Mr. X, who reveals that the cancer man was here with Mulder's mother, providing him with the photographs to make his point. X further reveals that they knew each other. Mulder pleads ignorance, but we learn that it was X who made the 911 call that allowed Mrs. Mulder to survive. So thank you. Thank you so much for saving my mother's life. That was very kind of you.
This is X going, yeah, remember when you had your gun on me last week? Yeah, I saved your mom's life. So anyway, brushing past that, here's some photos.
Here's some photos of your wife who's clearly had a relationship with your worst enemy. Discuss. Well, X reveals that the CSM wanted something from her. Mulder says that when his parents divorced, Mrs. Mulder vowed never to set foot in this cottage again. So, Mike, what would bring her back here?
That dick.
the big D. Which we all know is David. Big David.
Yo. For me, this poses an unfortunate question.
Okay.
As we know, or will find out, you highlighted it earlier, this is just a ruse, not a ruse, but a method to find the alien stiletto, the space stiletto.
Yeah.
CSM would just raid any other house. I guess out of some personal respect, he doesn't do that here, but he suspects she has it. He knows she has it. why not just find it?
Why not
Or
just
get
get
people to find it.
a crew of 50 guys to take this place apart?
I mean, do the CSM thing, the syndicate thing, and just find what you're looking for.
I would give you, my counter to your offer is that he entrusts this task to X, except that X doesn't know what's being hidden here. Because he's asking, what brought her here? What he's looking for something. What is he looking for? And Mulder's like, I got no idea. So obviously X is here on his own volition, and you know he wants to know what CSM is looking for because clearly it's important. So yeah, to your point, I don't understand why X wouldn't just get his guys, get a crew of 12 guys and take the place apart. Except that I suppose it's so super important he can't even entrust that to underlings because he doesn't entrust it to X.
Which is weird because X knows of the alien conspiracy. He knows of the space stilettos. He has. Maybe not. Maybe he. I mean, he is technically a subordinate in my eyes to Deep Throat. And Deep Throat obviously was in on it. So maybe he doesn't. Maybe I'm thinking too much of X's
or he's
writing.
Lying. He's saying,
or he's lying.
What's he looking for, Mulder? Question mark. Blink, blink, blink.
He could just be withholding information again. Like he does. But
like he does.
We'll never know because,
Yeah. Well, let's go back to the FBI HQ. We're in the main entrance. A man is arriving. Scully just happens to be there and shows a little surprise as we see that this man is none other than Jeremiah Smith, who is turning himself in. This is 10 minutes in the episode and he's turning himself in.
I'm so sorry for healing that man.
He says he was embarrassed to learn that he'd fled a crime scene. He goes with Scully. He is then interviewed by 5 people, including Scully, Skinner, and the detective. Smith claims he doesn't remember any of the events of the day, including giving a false address to the detective. Skinner lets him go. I like this scene. I like what they're trying to do here to be like the bait and switch of who is Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah. I like that it's without warning, too, because we just saw Jeremiah Smith get apprehended and put into a cell.
That's right.
What is happening?
We got multiple Jeremiah Smiths. We've seen this before in colonies. So maybe clones.
Well, clones rhymes with drones, and we all know that government workers are just drones to Chris Carter, as we saw in the previous scene. So
true enough.
They're clones of each other. Drone clones.
Drone clones. Back in Quanakatog, it's night, and Mulder is looking through the cottage to find the missing plot MacGuffin. He searches through cupboards, boxes, trunks, chests of drawers, bookshelves, teacups, clothes closets, suitcases, furniture. All
open outlets,
empty.
Andrew?
No open outlets. He doesn't go full psycho. No open outlets.
So he hasn't been watching TV.
Yeah. He returns to his mother's note, Palm. He considers it as an anagram and rewrites the word as lamp. Hey, there's a lamp nearby under plastic. He searches it. There's nothing. Finally, he throws it against a wall, smashing it. Nothing. Smashes another lamp, and there, in the debris, accompanied by dramatic music, he finds it. The alien switchblade. We fade to black.
Okay.
Yep.
So, how do you feel about the anagram thing?
Well, happily, the only word that you can do, the only anagram you can do is between palm is lamp. There is nothing else.
Yeah. I mean, in Mulder's head, this makes sense, but it's still a little tenuous.
I mean, the episode is not so far out in a limb because, stroke do that to the brain. It messes up the way things work. She couldn't speak. She wrote it down. I get that. I guess
you throw one lamp against the wall, you're done. There's nothing here. All right, my head's getting the best of me. That's where I would have stopped. But I'm not Mulder.
I wish there was only one lamp, and that he smashed that, and it was there. This idea of like, I'll just keep smashing lamps till I find something. It's like, okay, but
all right.
Yeah, a little tenuous, a little bit, but it works for the plot. You know, and we get our space switchblade, so that's the most important thing, right?
Yep.
Which,
old spiky.
Not to spoil it for everybody, but that switchblade does so little in the context of the show. Like, it actually doesn't solve anything.
No, I don't fully understand what the big deal is.
Well, technically, it's the only way to kill absolutely these shapeshifter aliens.
But
it never works.
I get that. I don't understand why CSM's not just now worried about it. What? Like, what are you going to do? You're going to kill Jeremiah Smith for healing people in public and giving undue attention to the conspiracy in a way by, I don't know. It
seems to me that you can put this guy into a sort of restraint system and throw him into prison and problem solved.
And forget about him. Yeah, exactly. So what does this thing suddenly have so much impact for? I don't know.
Well, Mark Snow likes it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we cut to the window of a door. The cigarette-smoking man looks inside, going to have a chat with his captive, Jeremiah Smith. He removes Smith's gag so he can speak and pulls up a chair to sit down next to the restrained man, lighting a cigarette.
This becomes a responsibility.
The thing I'm now called upon to put right and put down.
Certainly you expected nothing less.
I'm not ashamed of my actions.
Ashamed? You're not allowed the luxury of human weakness and penitence. You're not allowed to put your indulgences ahead of the greater purpose.
I no longer believe in the greater purpose.
Then your fate is just.
My justice is not for you to mete out. You may have reason. You have no right. You have no means either.
You presume to dictate duty to me? Have you any idea what the cost of your actions is? What their effect might be? Who are you to give them hope?
What do you give them?
We give them happiness. And they give us authority.
The authority to take away their freedom under the guise of democracy.
Men can never be free. Because they're weak, corrupt, worthless, and restless. The people believe in authority. They've grown tired of waiting for miracle and mystery. Science is their religion. No greater explanation exists for them. They must never believe any differently if the project is to go forward.
At what cost to them?
The question's irrelevant, and the outcome inevitable. The date is set.
Jerry Hardin makes a triumphant return as Jeremiah Smith transforms into the form of Deep Throat, revealing to us that he's in fact a shape-shifting alien, though one with a more human moral compass. The cigarette-smoking man is shocked and knocks on the door to leave the room. He says he's not impressed by Smith's miracles or trickery, but you know he probably is. Justice, he says, will be meted out. Smith isn't buying it. By whom? And with what tool? CSM responds ominously, by those who possess the tool of your destruction, which we've just seen in the hands of Agent Fox Mulder. So, what they're setting up is that Mulder is going to kill Jeremiah Smith. Do you believe it?
No.
No, of course not. Mulder can't kill Jesus.
No, you can't kill Jesus.
Can't kill Jesus?
Not with a stick.
It should have been a cross. That would have been great.
It should have been a cross
out of a lamp. I mean, come on. And like you push a button on a
Actually,
cross and a
truthfully, it should have been a nail.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't. Are they setting up that Mulder's going to kill him? I don't know.
Well,
that's interesting. I mean, I get what you're saying. That's kind of obscure. And Mulder's got the tool to kill him, but I don't know. That's interesting.
Yeah. Frankly, I don't know what they're doing with this interaction between CSM and Jeremiah Smith, other than having an opportunity to showcase Jerry Hardin and the guy who plays Bill Mulder.
Bill Mulder.
Season 4, is coming up, and we have the big finale with season 3. They're trotting out all our favorites. I'm surprised we don't have the lone gunman showing up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, the CSM leaves Jeremiah Smith to ponder his actions, and we cut to Mulder barging into Skinner's office. Skinner, coincidentally, is having a meeting with Scully. Mulder demands Skinner tell him everything about the smoking man. He shows them the photographs. He tells them that the CSM is the reason Mrs. Mulder had her stroke. Skinner doesn't know his name or how to contact him. The time where he could have done that has passed. Nice little nod to Skinner's development in the series.
Yeah.
Mulder tells them that CSM wants to kill Jeremiah Smith, but a confused Scully relates their meeting with none other than Jeremiah Smith. Now, do we make that connection that Mulder's saying that CSM wants to kill Jeremiah Smith? I mean, he's looking for the weapon. Sure.
That's the only place I really go is this guy has drawn undue attention to our plans. He's an alien. Therefore, he must be taken out. Why CSM was not equipped by the alien overlords with at least one of these things to have on him at all times, I don't know.
Well, let's go back and ask how the Mulders have this and why they stuck it into a lamp.
Well, yeah, exactly. Why did Bill Mulder have one and not CSM?
Well, yeah.
And I don't know.
That never gets addressed. And how Tila Mulder knows that it's in the lamp, I mean, that suggests a lot of knowledge on her part.
Well, when she cleans, she does a thorough job. And that includes the inside of lamps that are technically unbroken.
A lot of dust builds up on the inside of a lamp.
Yep. Got to get to it. She found it.
Okay.
And she's kept the secret.
One of those threads that if you pull a little hard makes the rest of the episode a bit awkward, but we're just going to skip on by it for now.
Yeah.
All right. So we got questions for Jeremiah Smith, so we're going to have to go and find him, which means that Mulder and Scully go to interview him back at the old clone factory, the Social Security Administration, and he goes with them peacefully until they get upstairs to a cluster of other suit-wearing people, at which point he lunges away and crashes into other men in suits. Mulder pulls up who he thinks is Smith, but it's another man dressed in Smith's clothes, the wrong guy. Scully and Mulder can no longer see Smith among them. Outside, the first man that Mulder dragged from the pile is outside. It's clear that this is Smith, having changed his form and made a successful getaway. Ooh. You think this is feasible? Think that old superpower Mulder wouldn't have figured out that he can change his form?
I mean, at this point, it would be on the tip of my radar just because so much is happening and we saw on the tape. He's had enough time to process what he just saw on that footage. So given the fact that you've only ever seen it in an alien, might key you off. Be like, I'm detaining every one of you old men. I'm going to keep you all here till you decide you're tired and can change back.
Would you mind just changing into this orange jumpsuit for me, please?
Please.
I mean, it's very fashionable. It'll be fine.
Yep.
We go back to Smith number 1's cell with the cigarette smoking man, and they banter some more. Smith talks more about his power, but CSM dismisses this.
Put me in a cage, within a cage. Why are you so afraid of me?
I'm not.
Yes, you are. You live in fear. That's your whole life.
You don't know anything about me.
I know everything about you. You think the miracles I perform are the extent of my power.
You think you're God. You're a drone. A catalog. Chattel.
What you're afraid of is they'll believe I am God.
Well, it doesn't matter. Most of them have ceased to believe in God.
Why?
Because God presents them with no miracles to earn their faith.
You think when man ceases to believe in miracles, he rejects God?
Of course.
You rule over them in God's name.
They don't believe in him, but they still fear him. They're afraid not to because they're afraid of freedom.
And you give them happiness.
We appease their conscience. Anyone who can appease a man's conscience can take his freedom away from him.
And if you can't appease their conscience, you kill them. But you can't kill them all. You can't kill their love, which is what makes them who they are. makes them better than us. Better than you.
You talk. I'm not one of you.
No. All you want is to be a part of it. Is to be one of the commandants when the process begins.
But you are wrong.
Oh. Am I?
Yes. You are dying of lung cancer.
Something old Smokey doesn't believe, thinking this is a ruse of the alien to save his own skin. But we're left, like the CSM, with a little niggling doubt.
Poor CSM.
I mean, he really should have lung cancer, what with all these smoking he's doing, so...
I don't know. I think he's become one with cigarettes, and kind of like Leonard Betts, he is cancer now, so he can't really be afraid of it.
You kind of wish that Clyde Bruckman had a chance to talk to CSM at one point. How am I?
You just don't get it, do you?
You just don't get it. You're gonna die by a rocket strike from a helicopter.
You need a good life insurance policy.
Yeah. Lung cancer? No, you're fine.
You're fine.
Outside the prison, we see the older gentleman who fled from Mulder and Scully. He is at the gate. He's looking very harmless indeed until his face morphs into that of the alien bounty hunter. The camera tracks down to his hand where we see he's holding an alien switchblade, which he gives a little shick-schnick to everyone. So we know he's armed and dangerous. Mm-hmm. Old bounty baby heads inside. But when he finally gets to Smith's cell, escorted by a fairly harmless-looking security guard, the cell is empty, and we fade to commercial.
Son of a bitch!
God damn it. All I want to do is stab somebody with my schnicky-schnick.
It's interesting to see the bounty hunter like playing by rules and being all formal and, oh yeah, sure, please take me to the cell. Hey, how's it going? How about them bears?
How about them bears?
Still suck.
Well, this is Brian Thompson, who we've seen many times as the alien bounty hunter.
Yeah. His skull is no closer to being out of his skin. But it's trying. It's still trying.
It's still trying. Yeah. Well, back in the hospital, things aren't looking good for Mrs. Mulder. The doctor updates the prognosis. There's been a lot of pressure on her brain, and she may never regain consciousness.
Prognosis negative.
Yeah. The doctor leaves, giving Mulder some time with his mother. He breaks down with some of the worst tear acting we've yet seen from David Duchovny. God bless him, he's trying. And a less cynical viewer than me might be convinced, but...
It's not good.
It's not good.
This one's not good.
Yeah, he's had better.
It begins with when he turns from the door, and he's got that fake pouty face, and you can see the streams of tears on his cheeks. It just does not look good.
And this is a complicated thing for the episode, for the series generally, is Mulder's relationship with his parents. As in, up until this point, we haven't really seen one. We've seen one with his father, that stern thing, and then his father does this whole guilt thing of, you've got to tell your mother you let her down by letting your sister disappear.
Your mother.
So, like, of course, you've got this relationship with your parents. It's hard to quantify. It's impossible to say. It doesn't mean anything. It's just a little bit trumped up. It feels a little bit hard for us to see this real. I don't know. It
is a very, very weird relationship. And I feel bad for Mulder just because his dad is a hard ass, obviously did not show very good emotion and wasn't there for him as a kid. And he's much more of a fan of his mother, but she's also very rigid. It feels like there's a lot of back and forth. They don't have an overly friendly relationship, at least in the show. So it's hard to, like, he's just sad because he needs to be, because they're family, or does he really actually care that his mother's dying? Like, the relationships we see are very...
the stock.
Just like, I don't want to be here. We're yelling at each other all the time. She slaps him in season 4 for insinuating things. And it's like, we don't really ever see great interactions between these two.
you know what we needed for this to land would have been a scene of normalcy. She has him over for dinner. They talk about Samantha a little bit. They have some yucks. You know, a few hugs. We have so
At
much
least
more
once.
Of that. We have so much more of that with Scully and her family that when Melissa gets killed, it's like, oh, this lands, you know? And
yeah.
But none of that with Mulder, so that when we see these tears come out, it's like, okay, sure. I hate to be cynical, but they don't.
No, I get it.
They don't invest it with anything.
It's hard because Mulder is a very loner person, and talking about it now, you know, he obviously got it from somewhere, and I think it just kind of worked out that way. I don't know that they were specifically written that way, but they definitely come off as a very rigid family, to each their own, just standing off from each other, and no good relationship there at all. So it's hard to see him really crying this much over his mother when the only interactions have been somewhat negative. So I don't know. I get that when you're a kid, there's family closeness, but there has to be like a basis of actual love, and we just don't see that.
You never see it. Thus it feels hollow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, after some time with Mark Snow's desperate piano strains, Mulder takes a step out of the room to clear his head, only to see the cigarette-smoking man in the hallway with him. I mean, I think...
How big dick must you act to have a lit cigarette in the cardiology department of a hospital?
I mean, it's
just
so
standing
bad,
there.
He
He is just standing there like he's got his head tilted back like, hey, Mulder.
Hey, how you doing?
How you doing?
How's your mom?
Cigarette hanging out of his mouth.
I brought some flowers. Well, Mulder does not take this well. He rushes over and grabs him, puts a gun to him, and we get a nice tense scene between Mulder and the CSM. Mulder's an angry boy, threatening to kill him, obviously unable to. Cancer Man suggests that it wasn't him who was responsible for his mother's condition, completely lying, but rather Mrs. Mulder reached out to him. There might be a lead on Samantha's whereabouts, but alas, the man who knew this information has disappeared. Oh, well, that's convenient, isn't it? Mulder, seeing through it all, telling the Cancer Man that he has what he wants. But this doesn't appear to have an impact on Cancer Man, who says he's only here to check in on Mrs. Mulder. Well, we finally had our little interaction. I mean,
we had a little tense scene.
I'm feeling that they'd envisioned this scene and wrote the whole episode around it.
Oh, this is one of those for you.
This is one of these for me. How are we going to connect Mulder with the Cancer Man and have a little fighty fight? What is that going to look like? What's it going to be about?
He banged my mom. They're old pals. So, Bill Mulder, I gave him a death stick once. So we're gonna. Only he has it. She knows where it is. I gotta find it. So,
yep,
that's how they wrote around the scene.
It must be. We cut back to the FBI, where it's late and Scully is doing some work on the old computer. Turns out there are at least 6 Jeremiah Smiths working for the Social Security Administration in Seattle, Cupertino, Chicago, Miami, and New York, as well as theirs in Washington.
Can I ask a question here?
Please.
They all work for the government.
Yeah.
They all work in the same department.
Oh, you would think, yeah.
Same department-ish, given their city.
Mm-hmm.
Would they not have caught this?
Mike, you're clearly wrong.
It's the federal government. And I'm not saying they can't make mistakes. Obviously they can. But 6 men, same name, same face. 6 different cities. Normally, I don't know.
Normally, I would be the one right there with you saying it's bullshit. I will be an apologist for this episode on this point. For 2 reasons. One is it's Chris Carter writing this, and remember his version of the government is giant monolithic bureaucracy which couldn't find its ass with its elbow. So yes, absolutely, it can happen. Not wrong. In his version of the government. Second, 1997. I'm willing to forgive that they don't have the technological. That could be easily outwitted by.
True. That's true.
By these folks.
Perhaps I am looking at it with a modern lens.
Yeah. Still, I find it hard to believe in a big office culture that somebody somewhere wouldn't have been on inter-office trip, a little work retreat. Oh, Jeremiah Smith, good to see you again. Yeah.
you get the finger point, the curious finger point from across the room. Hey, didn't I see you in Chicago?
Didn't I just see you in Chicago? Yeah.
You're down here too?
Yeah. That to me would be the failure of this plan that they've concocted. And it's like, here's the obvious thing. They can shapeshift. Why?
Yeah. Why did they all choose the same man?
And the same name. It's like,
well, there's Jeremiah Smith. There's Jeremiah Smythe.
Yeah.
There's Jeremiah Smoth.
I mean, as reveals go, it's a good. I love that Scully has uncovered it, but as plans go for the aliens, it's like you could have thought this one through like a little bit more.
And it's one of those things that the X-Files has written itself into. We have to show spooky shit, right? Mm-hmm. So we're gonna make this man be the same in every city. It's 6 different beings in the same city. They all have to look alike, but we can't show you without having the same man play the character. Otherwise, it doesn't make much sense.
Yeah.
When in reality, if you step back and you think about it, like, well, why did they all choose the same shape? They only did that for us.
Exactly.
So it's like,
And
oh well.
And as is my want, this is another Dehan Verlitz drinking fountain moment where you are presented.
You haven't brought that up in several episodes. I'm proud of you, and here we are.
Clearly waiting for it. But this is clearly smoking gun evidence of some serious level bullshit, and they hand wave it away as, wow, there must be something to this Jeremiah Smith guy. You don't walk down the hall to Skinner and say, hey, that Jeremiah Smith, something up with that. Here are 6 Jeremiah Smiths working for the Social Security Administration.
Yeah.
Feel like we should probably lock all the doors, and root and stem go through that organization for other spies because, look, this kind of weird. But no, never comes up again.
Never comes up. However, not the last time we see Jeremiah Smith.
No. Well, no doubt this should remind us of the clones in the Colony episode. Was Scully clued in on all of that? Was she dialed into the idea that there were clones? Or is she on the outside for that plot?
It was with...
Because Mulder was on his own a lot.
It was Endgame and... what's the first one called? Colony.
Yeah.
Colony, yeah. Yeah, I mean, they were approached by that one guy, remember?
Mm-hmm.
About the Gregors, and she was with Mulder and him at the time they were talking about clones. So yeah, she was aware of the idea.
Okay, well, they do not reference it. They do not talk about that as a, hey, this happened before. We should get our gas masks because at some point we're going to stab somebody and he's going to have this gas and it's going to take us all out. No.
And she looks over to her closet, the heel of her shoe that was burned off. That she stepped in the goo. Oh, I remember that.
I lost a good pair of shoes. Well,
brand new.
She goes to make a call, but as we cut to Mulder, his phone reveals it has no service. So clearly, she was calling him. Mulder is meeting with X.
Do you have it? Do you have it?
Yes.
Give it to me.
Can't do that.
It's of no value to you.
And to you?
When the time comes, and the truth is finally determined, its value will soar.
Why?
I think you know why, Agent Mulder.
It's a weapon, isn't it? Used to pierce the back of the neck. It's the only way we can kill them.
A simple gunshot won't do.
Why do you want it?
They will kill you for it, Agent Mulder. That's a fact. They'll stop at nothing for it, nothing. Even if they have to martyr you and risk turning your work into a crusade.
Let me get clear on something here. What we're talking about is colonization. The date is set, isn't it?
Give me the weapon, Agent Mulder.
No.
Their meeting ends where it began. X tells Mulder again, give me the weapon, without acknowledging Mulder's assertions about colonization. Mulder refuses, and X takes the opportunity to sucker punch him, launching into an epic fight, which leaves them both battered and bloody and pointing their guns at each other. Mulder walks away, with X threatening him. Mulder's a dead man, one way or the other.
Excellent scene.
Yeah.
I think for the clip, I'm only going to use the fighting.
And why not? Because
why not?
It's a lot of oof and umph, and they could be doing anything on the audio.
Actually, I'll intercut it with the fight scene, the overly long and hilarious fight scene from They Live. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, it's ridiculous, that scene. And it's purely because Roddy Piper, and they need the wrestler.
This is a wrestler, yeah. Oh, man.
So interesting to note that despite the fact most of the action in that fight was done by stunt doubles, Stephen Williams got injured.
Did he?
Yeah, he did.
I didn't read that. It's a shame. There are some unfortunate shots with stunt actors, but I'm glad to see Stephen Williams recovered.
Yeah, totally.
I really like X saying, I ought to shoot you anyway. You can tell he is done with Mulder.
Yeah. But yeah.
Their relationship has hit an impasse, I think. The last two confrontations they've had have been negative.
They've always had guns, Yep. There's no happy barbecue between these guys right now.
No, they're not coming over for a nice family get-together.
They're not going out for a ball game like he and Deeps are.
Remember that time we pulled guns on each other in the hospital?
Boy, we were angry on that.
Right? Water under the bridge, my friend.
1:12 a.m. at Scully's apartment. There's a knock on her door. It's Jeremiah Smith. She answers the door, gun in hand. Through the peephole, it's him. She gives him some detailed instructions on how to come inside her apartment. Count to 5, walk inside, then lock the door behind you. He complies, and Scully holds him at gunpoint. He has...
I'm sorry. Keep going.
He has important information for her. Details about the plan Agent Mulder is trying to learn about. Colonization. Now, Mike, why doesn't Smith tell this to her before? Well, he's never met her before. That was an imposter who's trying to kill Smith. Scully's phone rings. It's finally Mulder, who, upon being told Smith is with Scully, tells them to meet him off the I-95.
So, before we go on.
Yeah, okay.
The reason I was laughing.
Oh, you were laughing? Did you think of something naughty?
Naughty? No.
Oh, okay.
Naughty? What? No, I was laughing because you said she gives some very detailed instructions on how to enter her apartment. I'm like, do you think this is rollover from her paranoia from Wet Wired?
Yeah, likely.
Knocking on the door is not going to do it. I'm going to shoot you if you come in the wrong way.
Luckily for you, I only load my gun with 6 bullets, so
6 rounds.
You're gonna be safe.
Nope.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's good. Well, we cut to their meeting late at night. Smith and Scully pull up to what appears to be a chemical processing plant of some kind. Mulder calls them over, brandishing the alien switchblade. We learn that this is the Smith from the opening sequence who healed the wounded. He has answers for all their questions and is happy to go with Mulder to heal his mother. All of that is fine. But, of course, just as everything is about to turn for the better, another car pulls up, the trio illuminated by its headlights. It's the alien bounty hunter, who is here to kill Smith with an alien schnick of his very own.
Oh, boy.
We fade to black, where this episode will be concluded in just 6 short months with the beginning of season 4. Mike, lay your final thoughts on me.
It is a roller coaster, Andrew. Really, I think the biggest things for me are, again, the interactions with X and the interactions with CSM. I personally think this is one of the weaker mythology episodes. We are still only in season 3, so it's still on its upward trajectory, but I think this one asks a lot of questions and accidentally asks a lot of questions. Like the lamp, like the snick. Why doesn't CSM have one?
Yeah.
Things that don't come back in any meaningful way. And it's unfair to judge it on that now, but given where the show goes, you have to. So it's intriguing, but it's not Wet Wired intriguing, if that makes sense for me. Wet Wired was intriguing. It asked questions, it gave answers, it led you step by step, and it kind of resolved in a meaningful way. And I know this one's supposed to be a cliffhanger, but there were just too many weird questions.
Yeah.
And it doesn't sit at a very high level for me. It's an okay episode. It's just not memorable enough for me, despite the guest appearances.
I agree with that largely. This is always a case of how do you make this a better episode? And I think the answer is you look back in season 3 and examine which episode they could have cut absolutely. I think we know which episode that was. And use that slot to make this a 3-parter, where the first episode gives us a little bit more family dynamic between Mulder and his mother, so that when we have the reveal of CSM and Mrs. Mulder's relationship and her having a stroke, there's some resonance there, because this is completely parachuted in the fact that he is sad at mommy having a stroke. You buy it because that's going to be the case for anybody, but it just comes out of nowhere. Like so many things with Mulder's backstory, his fear of fire, bugs, and colorblindness just are dropped on us to serve the interest of the plot du jour. And in this case, the
current plot.
Yeah, exactly. And in this case, it's like, oh, they, had a relationship, Mrs. Mulder and the cigarette smoking man. Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah.
The dropping of the alien device just mysteriously in this cabin that he's got to make, 28 hours of driving to, it's just like, okay, for what purpose?
Yeah. And that's probably my biggest issue with the episode is what the fuck is the necessity of this device for CSM? How can he not have a spare? And if not, he obviously has the bounty hunter on call. Yeah, exactly. He's got his phone number.
Why do I
That's
care
why
about
he
that?
shows up. That's why he shows up.
And the bounty hunter is unkillable and has the weapon to do it. So this is a slam dunk, really. We don't need to have our own.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a little weak, and it tries to be too mysterious, but in doing so, it comes off when you take a step back as very clunky and unnecessary. So do I like that CSM has this mysterious relationship with Tina? Yeah, that's fine. I'm intrigued by that. It adds an element to Mulder's life that's interesting, that will be fleshed out in some future episode, hopefully. But the fact that she's got some mysterious device that only she knows where it is. And it's like, I don't buy that. So there's too much going on in this episode. So,
well, to my mind, there's too much going on that isn't unpacked and resolved later on. Like that's the real crime.
Yeah.
Like in Herrenvolk, that's what should be discussed, but it's not. It's just set up for the action.
They take it in a completely different direction.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I mean, it's the golden age of the mythology arc, where nothing's been so firmly decided that its own internal logic isn't completely convoluted that it's impossible to understand. That's going to happen later.
Yeah.
But right now, these plot nuggets are being doled out miserly from a very tightly balled fist. And like our protagonists, they struggle to understand the greater plot surrounding them all. This is what the X-Files does really well. It's giving you questions without giving you answers. Yeah. And that's why we keep watching, is so that, one day the mystery will be revealed. It's a very smart tactic.
Yeah. And not to belabor the point, I think as you described, the mythology is on an upward trajectory still, even with this episode. It's just the resolution of this particular episode. I think this is one of those on the graph, it dips a little bit before it still continues going up. This one's just not as interesting to me as the others.
I agree.
So,
I mean, other than the usual time travel hijinks, the episode hand waves away. There's nothing really wrong with it. I mean, it does kind of work in the sense
the episode works.
Yeah.
It just is not good as part of a unit of other episodes.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of slog through it to get to better stuff. And as usual, Mike, the question's going to be, for this two-parter, which is the better episode, the beginning or the ending in Herrenvolk?
Tune in for our final decision, because I don't have one right now. Oh, well, ladies and gentlemen, do we have any comments for Talitha?
We do. Emily Messenger had a comment.
All right. Lay it on.
I'm going to lay it on you. All right. Well, does anybody else wonder, says Emily, what the sex between CSM and Tina Mulder was like?
Wrinkly.
The idea of it throws me off to the point where I can't focus on the rest of the episode. As far as season finales goes, well, clearly, Emily is a very smart person. This one is meh. It's too much like Colony for me. How many times do we have to end an episode with Scully at the mercy of the alien bounty hunter? Yeah.
Yep. To her first point, like I said earlier, I think my mind just kind of tilts thinking of CSM on a water ski more than anything. But yes, I totally understand. What does sex between CSM and Tina look like? So either way, he's got a cigarette in his mouth.
Likely. Yeah. I think it starts by looking at younger pictures of William B. Davis. Because I think our problem is that we're imagining him as an old man.
Yeah. Ian, that's fair. I'm sure he was a dashing man in his 30s.
And it makes me curious. I'm looking back here at the imagery. It's all old William B. Davis, unfortunately.
Yeah, he definitely didn't rise to fame until he was past his prime.
Yeah, I got a younger picture of him. It looks like a school shot. Yeah, he's an okay looking guy. A lot of Brillo cream in that hair. Yeah. What was the sex like? I think obviously it was a manipulative kind of thing.
You will do this, and I will tell you why.
I think it was a move over Bill.
Oh, yeah. He likes to stick it to people. In any way imaginable.
If you know what I'm saying.
Yep.
All right. Well, I think we've indulged on that thought for far too long, but thanks so much, Emily, for that image.
How dare you?
Although I think there is some opportunity for some great fanfic.
We will write it.
Yeah.
And maybe that'll be a bonus episode.
There's a bonus content if ever there was one. Well,
all right.
Lovely listeners, that's it. That's it for season 3. Can you imagine?
We are there. We are officially
finally there. So
4 seasons done.
For our next episode, that will clearly be the best of, worst of.
For our best ofs, we cannot pick a Darren Morgan joint.
With that, let us close the door on season 3. Mike, I will give you the final word on season 3 recordings, and go.
Please, ladies and gentlemen, whatever you do, don't hide your snicks in lamps. It's just going to create more hassle when you realize that's the only one to kill aliens with, and someone's going to tear apart your house. So make it accessible. Goodbye. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you liked what you heard, please rate and review on your podcast app of choice. Andrew and I would be eternally grateful to you fine people for helping us expand and get the word out. Also, we've got a killer group on Facebook. Feel free to join in on the discussion at facebook.com/groups/thisisnothappeningpod and become an official member of the syndicate. We do polls and we have questions for every episode to give you guys the opportunity to chime in and possibly let your voice be heard on our recordings. And please join us on our new Twitter at tinhxfilespod, no dash, to stay up to date on everything, moment to moment. Thank you, and remember, don't stop swimming.